All right, everybody. So just finished digging up the holes down in the crawl space for the concrete piers. I know I mentioned earlier how it seemed like the joists were cut, and then I kind of backtracked on that and said, well, maybe they just weren't long enough, and so they spliced in the extra wood to make it the proper length. Well, looking a little closer while I was down digging the holes, I noticed a couple things, and I wanted to show that to you guys real quick. All right, so there's a couple of joists that weren't quite exposed very well before, but now they are. If you look at this one right here, you can kind of see the grain patterns in the wood are very similar on both sides, and the cut's not exactly straight. It kind of curves, and it curves the same way on both sides. As a matter of fact, on this side, this one, you can see that as well, where the grain pattern doesn't change. It's not a different piece of wood. That's the same thing on this one right here, where it's the same grain pattern, and again right here on this one we've got a similar grain pattern across the whole thing. The thing that made me notice this, or take notice of it, is I actually ran this string line, and if you look, so I put it on the same side all the way on two sides of the room. On this one, the cut is right above the string line, but on this one, it's just a little bit behind it on this side, and this one a little bit more so. And again, right here, as we come down closer to the other side of the room, it gets a little bit better, and then we're back to being right on top of the string line. The cut is pretty much. So originally I had planned on using a 4x6 post and the two 2x10 beams that would basically sit on either side of the cut. With it being 4x6 wide, that means my beam would be in essence 5.5 inches wide, and you would have a lot of meat to sit on. The more I look at it though, the more I think I might want to embed the carrying beam into the floor joist. And so what that means is I would have to cut the joists so that they are all the same length. Basically, I would take the shortest two joists as my reference frame, and then cut the rest of them back to that. That way I could use joist hangers and hang the joists from a beam, kind of like what you would do when you're trying to open up a room. And then I could use joist hangers on the other side to replace the floor joists that are cut that were in the old bathroom area. Now, the more I think about it, it seems to make sense that the reason why they cut the joists out to begin with was to install the plumbing. Almost all of the plumbing resides in this section of the house, and it's also the reason why a lot of the joists are kind of rotted out, which brings me to my next dilemma. The joist pockets in the masonry wall aren't really there anymore. A lot of the adobe has worn out, and just because of the foundation settling and everything else like that, it is not clear to me exactly what the joists that are there are actually sitting on. They're obviously sitting on something. They're not sagging at that end, and there is pressure on something. But what that something isn't entirely clear to me, even by looking at it. And so if I took those joists out, my concern is that I wouldn't necessarily be able to get joists back into place without creating a new surface for them to sit on. So if I do that, then I would have to pour new foundation or foundation reinforcement with concrete over the stone foundation that is there now, which is a little bit more of an undertaking, having to pour the forms, but that actually might be worth doing if it means strengthening the house. There's already one joist, or two joists, excuse me, that are completely cut away. They aren't supporting anything, so the bit that is actually in the wall, the exterior wall, doesn't really do anything. and it is side supported. So in a previous video, I showed you how they, the previous owners or remodelers, they didn't support each joist from underneath. They supported it from the side. So, you know, if you have your joist running this way, they just tacked on a 2x4 to the side, and that's how it's being supported down to the ground. The long section of the floor is supported from underneath and from the side, depending on the joist. It just kind of seems like they were a little bit lazy about it. So I wouldn't have to temporarily support the long side of the floor if I were to remove the short side joists in order to do the new joist hangers. And of course, the third option is just to leave it all there and just say it and just do whatever. Lay some new OSB, patch it up as much as I can. I don't know that I want to do that. There's a couple other things that I'm worried about. So still thinking about what is the best course of action, what is the best thing to do. I'm not exactly sure what I'm gonna do at this point, but you will know as soon as I know. So I got some more stuff done today. I took out some of the wood joists that were not really doing anything, not supporting anything, not being supported by anything. They're just kind of getting in the way, as well as some of the plumbing that was getting in the way as well. When I was talking earlier, I was having a hard time figuring out what I was going to do to support the joists, how I'm going to set the beam, and what the consequences would be if I were to take out the short side that goes into the masonry wall, which you can see right over there. So I went and cleaned up the joist pockets in the masonry wall. My worst fears were confirmed in that the joist pockets were completely deteriorated. The joists did not sit on much of anything. I think most of the 8 2x10s are going to have to be replaced. Some of them are rotted really, really bad on the top, some on the bottom. The others, like, if I can save them, I'll try to, but I just have doubts that I will be able to. So it's going to be a lot more work than I was expecting. I need to take that stud wall that you can still see back there out in order to get the joists out, but that can wait a little while. For now, I'm going to be focusing on getting this beam in the crawl space, getting this bathroom or old bathroom section all fixed up so that the wood is nice, it's not rotted, and it's not just going to bend and flex and possibly sink one day since it's not being supported by anything. So thank you for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.